And the goal is to bring you your next favorite band.
Sweet, that intro is my new favorite band. That's phenomenal. I'm so excited to be on.
Yeah. I heard a rumor that you might be able to play that song live today.
You heard correctly. Yes.
Excellent. So,
good enough for rock.
I don't know when I rock out here on your next favorite band and show.
and listen, it's going to be everybody's favorite band.
Phil, you weren't supposed to make me get all... God almighty,
But this
Phil.
is why we do it.
Like, seriously. I gotta gather myself. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Welcome to your next favorite band. That's both the show title and our promise to you. We here at Stereophilia Studio are tireless in our pursuit of finding incredible, genre-defiant artists who are either a hot, up-and-coming band or a group that has been delivering for years but have flown under the radar. Tonight we'll spend time with a retro rock stomper that remains firmly rooted in up-tempo sound, Atlanta-born, New York City-based Kyle Lacy. Each month, we will bring you live streams, audio podcasts, and perhaps even a live concert where you can listen to the stories and hear the music of artists personally curated by us based on what we feel will be worthy of your time. Be sure to subscribe and tune in to each episode because the possibilities are endless and you never know who will be your next favorite band. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Philip Reese, and you are listening to your next favorite band. And we've got a phenomenal one for you tonight. We have Kyle Lacy of the Kyle Lacy Band, and such a retro throwback, yet still, relevant, modern. It's just such a wonderful thing. You'll get it when you hear it. But just a special experience for you if you get to ever see it play live, and obviously the recorded stuff is there for you, but the live show just blows your mind. This is another one of our Musikfest finds from earlier this year, but we'll get to Kyle in a second. I'm going to keep it short off the top. Last week we did one of our banter episodes, and George Harab was kind enough to join. We spanned a ton of super cool topics. The ones I planned to talk about was what the general public might call the night before Halloween, which apparently is Mischief Night in the Philly, New Jersey area, but not much other places. So we had a banter about that, and we talked about some Halloween costumes and such. The other two topics I had ready to kind of like bring to the table and get his take on was AI, both in music and its environmental impact, and then streaming services and how that kind of impacts the musician. We had a fantastic chat about all of that, plus like 900 other things, because George Harab is such a great conversationalist. So I encourage you to check out last week's episode. It's called State of Things Banter with George Harab. I highly encourage you to check that out. I also highly encourage you, or at least ask you, to consider liking and subscribing to our show so that we can bring you similar type of awesome episodes in the future, whether that be banter episodes like that one where we just kind of talk about current events. But most of the time we do stuff like what this episode is about, where it's kind of introducing you, hopefully, to your next favorite band. You might actually be tuning in tonight because you already know Kyle Lacy, and thank you very much. We really appreciate that. But there's lots of other great musicians out there, and we love to show it. But the one thing we touched on last week that I want to kind of repeat here, we have our Winter Wonder Jam. That is coming up on Saturday, December the 6th, at the legendary Godfrey Daniels. We've got an incredible lineup here. Brett Cull, and he is of Echo Lynn and his own solo stuff, and then also previously Gray Eye Glances. That's how I learned of his excellence. He's pulled together some of the bandmates he has in Echo Lynn, Ray Weston, and his his partner in life, Katie Barbato. She's got her own phenomenal catalog, and then they've also produced music for Ava Left, who's actually also agreed to join us. That's just the headliner. Those 4 people, they're going to join the stage and play each other's music together. Also that night performing is Zoe Lemon, who's phenomenal. She's been on the show before previously. And then comedian Doogie Horner. There'll also be some other kind of shenanigans and whatnot going on, along with tidings of great joy and gratitude. So hopefully you can join us for that. Tickets are available now, $25. And if you can't join us for that, earlier that week will be our Winter Wonder pre-jam. And we're going to bring on people who have been on the show throughout the calendar year to share kind of a recorded message and some seasonal music, maybe current versions of songs that you love hearing during this time of the year, or maybe originals that you haven't yet heard. That it's always my favorite part, like when they just create a brand new, brilliant holiday or seasonal track. I just think that's so fun to be able to add to people's ears around this time of year. But let's check in with our sponsor, BetterHelp. Hey, music lovers. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to tell you about our sponsor, BetterHelp. More and more mental health topics of depression, anxiety, addiction, and more are coming up in our interviews with artists and musicians who are brave enough to share them and the music that came out of the journey. Those songs may even help us feel a little bit less alone as we work through the same struggles, but at the end of the day, we need more than just a great song. We need therapy, and that's where BetterHelp can assist. BetterHelp connects you with a therapist who can help you find your path. Instead of being stuck in the endless loop of questioning yourself, you can talk through questions, concerns, with someone who's trained to help you find real answers. As you know, our Listen to the Dissonance shows help to create a safe space for vulnerable conversations, but not everywhere can feel that way. Since BetterHelp is accessed via their app, you can explore your options and conduct your sessions in the comfort of your own home or wherever you feel is best for you. After you download the app, you'll get started by filling out a questionnaire and get matched with a therapist in as little as a couple of days. And if that's not feeling right, you can easily switch to a different therapist at any time at no extra cost. They carefully make sure the therapists on the platform are well qualified, and their customer support team is there to help you with any questions. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform that you can trust. We at Your Next Favorite Band believe in breaking the stigma around mental health, and going to therapy is a sign of strength, not weakness. And with BetterHelp, it's easier than ever to take that first step towards feeling better. Click the link here or go to betterhelp.com/nextfaveband and you'll get 10% off your first month of therapy. That's betterhelp.com/nextfaveband. It's okay to ask for help. Contact BetterHelp today. So I can't wait to check in with tonight's guest, Kyle Lacy. There's music that transports you. So like you might just simply be listening to it and it takes you somewhere away from where you are now. And then there's music that does that into a very specific time and place. And there's some other musicians out there that have done this, actually right here behind me here, Blair Crimmins. He takes you right back to the 1920s. Kyle Lacy takes you right back to 1950s in such a cool way, but not in like a nostalgic throwback way. It takes you there as if like you're currently there and enjoying it for the first time. And you're going to understand what I mean when you check out some of this music. And then I can't wait to kind of talk with him more because it's obviously a very distinct choice and a distinct kind of like vibe to set. So I can't wait to learn more about how it happens. But this is brand new music from Kyle Lacy. It's called More Than That. So check this out.
You said that I was evil, said that I was rude, said that I was lethal, poison in your mood, said you didn't want me, taking up your space, but time to time you call my name just to see my face. But it's gonna take more than that to turn me take more than that.
Kyle Lacy is an Atlanta, Georgia native who plays guitar and sings. Although he was born in 1990, his time machine stopped in 1956 for a brief refueling stop, and he was soon infected with the DNA that gave rise to rock and roll. He has almost 10 years of experience supporting himself through music in New York City. In 2020, Dalla Records, a Brooklyn-based label, released his debut album, The Road to Tomorrow. The lead single from the album, Low and Slow, was played on BBC Radio and dubbed a Trunk of Funk by the Craig Charles Funk and Soul program. In 2022, he released Pleasurecraft, and he's currently releasing singles, including this song, More Than That. Kyle also has hair that Elvis stole and cheekbones for days. We'll bring it back up, and then we'll bring him on the show.
Behind my back. Now you said you love me, but it's gonna take more than that.
Welcome to the show, Kyle Lacy.
Thank you, Philip. What an introduction. I don't even know what to say. It's so kind of you. To play our latest thing and to say all those nice things. I really appreciate it, man.
Oh my gosh. Listen, let's focus here, and then we'll get into kind of some of the things I was sharing there. Let's talk about this video, first
I'm
of all.
a little distracted. I just watched myself get beat up in my latest music video.
Somewhat by your own partner.
Yes, my own partner, Amanda, who is in the band and who in real life does not beat me up. But
No, certainly not.
because we've just watched sort of the first cut of our next video, which is a song called Everlasting, which is music that's about being strong together, and it's so the exact opposite.
The opposite of this.
So it's funny to look at this and go, oh my goodness, this is dark.
But listen, a phenomenal video, an incredible track, and
Thank you.
I think too, like, how do I say this? Like, some people can go into the recording studio and make it sound like this after engineering and help and whatnot. This is what you will sound like live, if not better. Like, I think that's the thing that people need to understand and give you like the room to kind of like impress them with is like, this is not something that's produced. This is just capturing you in your most genuine form.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that song and on most of the material from our upcoming album, The Record Hop, was recorded in Jackson, Tennessee, and in a place called Jackson, Jaxon Records.
Oh, cool.
Which is a historic studio, and we did a session there for 2 days, 2.5 years ago, and we recorded just drums, bass, and guitar and vocals live all in one room.
I do. That's my favorite. Like, I don't obviously always know that, but whenever I research my favorite albums, it's always that. And
Yes.
often to tape. Did you? Because I know one of your earlier ones was basically analog to tape. Is that right?
Yes. This one is not, partially because I had spent so much time and energy and money recording my previous albums that I sort of felt like I needed to be able to do more of my recording process at home.
Sure.
To transport sessions between various studios, I just opted for Pro Tools.
No, but that makes a ton of sense too.
But to your point about a lot of records being done that way, there's also something that is so makes the record come alive if the vocals are in the same room as the drums.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to get the balance right.
Yep.
That's why this song is now coming out here in almost 2026, and it was recorded in 2023.
Wow.
Is because I spent 2 years mixing it. Like overdubs with horns and his vocals were all done within a month of recording it, and then it's just been years of trying to get the sound right, trying to find the right visuals to promote it.
Sure.
Get the song out there. And not to mention, I wrote that song 12 years ago. So that's just like like I've got this incredible like backlog of stuff, and so that's what happens is like the drain just gets stopped up. You know what I mean? Like
Sure, absolutely.
so much stuff that and it's like, what's going to go on what project and how is it going to come out? So, but I'm the most proud of this release as a single than I've ever been of any other release as a single, and I'm so
Oh, congratulations!
well. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's been just a true process to get it out there, but we have had a great time releasing it, and
sure.
I think it's going to have really good legs.
Yeah, and we'll get into the chronology of things. But since Pleasurecraft, you've released a few singles. This is all building to another album. So I
Mhm.
figured I wanted you to kind of just speak to that for a second.
Yeah, well, so I was a member of this band called Kyle Lacy and the Harlem River Noise.
Right.
Which then we renamed to the Harlem River Noise and took my name off of it. It was a collaboration, but I wrote, like, I would say 80% of the songs that we performed.
Sure.
And so what ended up happening with that project was a little unfortunate because we had some really bad internal disagreements and we decided to go our separate ways. But there was a lot of material that I'd written for that band that we released
Got it.
on a previous album. I think it came out in like 2017. And we actually played with that band at Musikfest like all those years ago. And I say all those years ago, it wasn't that long ago, but I mean, I'm not that old, but
all those years ago.
But the band was a great band, and in its time, we did a lot of cool things, and I'm very proud of it. And what I wanted to do, so I did 2 albums since then. I've done The Road to Tomorrow, which was my release, as you mentioned, with Dollar Records. My friend Billy Oxtick owns and runs that label out of Brooklyn. He's a fantastic recording engineer, producer, songwriter, and I've been very fortunate to work with him. He put my first solo album out on his label, and that came out in February 2020, and we were just hitting the road when, of course, the pandemic happened.
Sure.
Then from there, it was a little bit of a pivot because at that time I had moved out of New York. I was living in Charleston and, with my ex, and we decided to split up at that time. So a lot of things were just sort of like,
we're going to need to do a whole episode on that moment in time.
Yeah, well, but I'm just, just to give you the
no, listen, bring it. Yeah.
Notes or whatever, cliff notes. But to essentially, I decided, to restart my band in New York. And so I moved back to New York in 2020. And basically we started in residency at a few clubs up here. Once the
like Red Lion and stuff. Yeah, that's great.
Restrictions kind of lifted, we were able to get a Saturday night every week residency at this place called The Groove. Been really good to us, and also by moving back to New York, I was able to meet my partner Amanda, and we were able to start this creative partnership that's led us to where we are. And so with all of that being said, we released Pleasurecraft as kind of my pandemic songs, which hadn't come out up until that point. And that was when I really learned how to release an album, because I think I did that one too fast. So I had like maybe 3 or 4 singles before the album came out. But basically, it was like October single, November single, December single, and then the album came out in January.
Sure.
And I learned through that process that really didn't give people enough time to digest it.
That's fascinating, because that's exactly the pacing that I would expect would work. But
yeah,
it's really very interesting and I think helpful to hear. Like, I love talking about this not only for music going audience members, but also the musicians who might be tuning in. Like, this is very helpful for them too, to kind of like give them some of that feedback.
Yeah, and so I would just say there's no rule to any of it. I mean, it is what you want it to be. If you want to release a single a month and then the album and then go on tour and do your thing, I mean, there are no rules. It's the new normal. There's no normal. Everybody gets to do what they want.
Probably equal parts freeing and frustrating. I mean, that's
exactly
amazing. Yeah.
And what I discovered for me was that I wanted to be able to focus on this one song at a time. And so having done those 2 solo albums with all new material, I think at that point I was ready to go back and revisit some of these a little bit older songs that I had written, performed originally with that band Harlem River Noise.
Yep.
And I was lucky enough that I was reconnecting with an old friend of mine, Joe Kogan, who has been my longtime friend and also my drummer in my first iteration of my band in New York.
Sure.
I was in Jackson, Tennessee in May of 2023 with Joe and my friend Manny on bass and Amanda on vocals.
Mm-hmm.
We had our sax player with us as well, Cade, and all the five of us on stage. We played that festival and we started bringing some of these rockabilly and blues and sort of up-tempo jump blues songs back to life.
Mm-hmm.
And the sound floored me. From that festival performance onward, I knew it was the time to try to capture some of that and to put it back out into the world.
Sure.
And in an authentic, what I felt was an authentic to us format. And so that's been the effort of the past couple of years. And now you're starting to see like, okay, we've now released 4 singles from this upcoming project. There's probably going to be another single and then the full album early next year.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, people need to give you, kind of like the like, subscribe, follow treatment so they can make sure they're on top of all of that.
Yeah, I mean, they can follow us everywhere. I just switched over to Tidal. I love high quality streaming, but you can also follow us on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and wherever. I would say the best, place to find the music is probably YouTube at this point, because we were recently lucky enough to be featured in a viral YouTube video that's by this guy Guitarro. He around the streets of New York and a lot of different cities performing with people.
Yeah.
And so I got to be featured in one of his episodes, and I was extremely lucky that sent a lot of attention to my YouTube channel. And so,
absolutely, yeah. And the other thing about your YouTube channel is it does have both like the studio recordings and then a lot of live performances. That again, I think that's where your stuff kind of like goes up a notch.
Oh, thanks.
I always say that. It's so funny. Like I'm always nervous to say it because I don't want it to come across disrespectful to the recording. But I feel like a band like yours, the recording I feel like is just simply the ticket to the show. Like go see the live performance because it unlocks something and it's a treat to see.
Yeah, I've always felt like my home is the stage. And
that's awesome.
The studio is kind of like the exact opposite of the stage. The studio is a very it can be a creative place, and it can also be an incredibly anxiety and I want to say like frustrating inducing space. It can be many things, but at the end of the day, I mean, I try to capture some live energy in the studio, and that's kind of what we were talking about with putting the band in the room together. It definitely amps you up.
Totally.
Get that energy that way.
I can't agree more. But if you don't mind, so this was going to come up later on, but since you brought it up, that recording with Guitarro, I understand it was a vocal injury story that is kind of what brought you to that moment. I just wanted to maybe, because I don't know totally about the story. Like, if you don't mind, maybe sharing what the vocal injury was.
Oh yeah, totally. So well, the way we met was I was emailed by the 34th Street Partnership earlier in the year this year to try to program some of their live music offerings around New York. So they have Plaza 33, which is right by Penn Station, between Penn Station and Madison Square Garden, which is a cool space. It's like they set up a stage and they have all these tables, and it's right by all these public areas and these restaurants, and you're sort of right underneath Madison Square Garden. So you're like playing at Madison Square Garden, but it's really cool. And
somebody probably said that, but
yeah, I also run my own record label. I produce and artists. And so through that label and through the artists that I had on that label, they found me and they were like, can you program some music for us this summer? And I said, I would love to. It would be such a huge honor. And so through that, I also got to perform there, and they invited me back to do a show at Bryant Park. Now, fast forward to the show at Bryant Park, and I guess Reggie, the Guitarro, was live in Bryant Park, and he comes up and, sees us performing and then comes up and asks to sing a song with me at the end. And I was like, sure. But then I got busy packing up, and he got kicked out of the park. And so because they were like, you can't film here. And so, it's Bryant Park, it's New York, there's a lot of regulation. And so he got kicked out. And as I had to go home because I had, I work a zillion little other jobs, and
Of course.
I also do weddings, and I had a meeting scheduled with a wedding client, and so I had to go home, and I missed him. But on my way out, I gave my number to his assistant that was with him, and
Hmm.
we set up a time to talk over the phone. And while we were talking, I sort of told him the story about my last few years, and I, in passing, mentioned that I had vocal surgery last year,
Wow.
and he was like, what happened? And
Yeah.
so I guess he wanted to know more about that, and we set up a time to meet and talk about it in the park. And
Hmm.
so the episode is kind of that story, as well as the two of us playing a song of mine together called Keep Moving, which is on Pleasurecraft. And he's seeing it for the first time, which is cool. But he has this really unique way of playing. And I don't know how he does it, because I even tried to do it. There's no way. But he can kind of play drums and guitar at the same time.
Yo, oh wow, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
it's crazy. And so he learns the song on the spot, plays it drums and guitar, and I play lead. And then so it's kind of the story of the vocal surgery time of my life, as well as this song of resilience and hope called Keep.
Wow, people got to check that out.
Yeah, they totally should. And I've been, I'll say it again. It was a huge blessing to be a part of it. And I didn't even realize how much of a reach he had until I told Amanda, and I was
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna go like down to Washington Square Park and have a little interview with this guy Reggie, and she was like, I think I know him. She like pulled up his TikTok, and she was like, he's like pretty famous, right? And I was like, I had no idea. But I think that just speaks to like his complete, honesty and lack of ego as a person.
Sure.
He was not approaching me like, come be on my show that is gonna, make you a star. He was approaching me as person to person, like, I want to hear your story, and
Sure.
you're, doing some cool stuff, and
Right.
like to be a part of what I'm doing. And that was just so cool.
That is very, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. We got to check out that episode, and we'll link
Yeah,
to it in our show notes for sure. Because we got to check. There have been other people on the show who have talked about, like, whether they had vocal cord paralysis or all sorts of different things, where it was just like this, somewhat panic-stricken, depression-inducing moment in time as a musician, to be like, I can't even do what I'm supposed to do or want to do. So anyway, like there's all these things that have come up on the show that I'm always just like, wow, it's just like so scary to think that that's,
Yeah.
it's almost like a pitcher losing the ability to their arm, like it's like,
Yeah, no, it was very scary. And I mean, the thing that I took away from it, though, is that, you just got to be smart about this whole thing. You got to be smart about your career as a musician and an artist, because if you go too hard, you'll burn yourself out. And so the pacing is everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a bad prognosis when I saw my vocal laryngologist, the doctor of the larynx. When they gave me the prognosis, they were like, this is going to be fine. You're going to be okay.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
going to take you being vigilant, and it's also going to take this procedure to remove this polyp, and
Sure.
for you to go on vocal rest, and then for you to be vigilant about your recovery.
Right.
And so they already said from the very beginning that it was going to be okay, but that, that depended upon me understanding that A, I had to pace myself, and B, I had to be proactive about my vocal health in all these different ways,
Totally.
whether not eating as much spicy food, not staying hydrated,
Yep.
waking up every day, making sure you do all of your vocal exercises that you get from your
Warm ups and stuff. Yeah.
or your vocal therapist, all of these other things. So just kind of staying on top of those has helped me make a full recovery. And I'm very, very fortunate, because, this week, for example, I sang four different gigs.
Wow.
And Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And today, I mean, I'm a little hoarse. It's the end of the week.
Sure.
But
And here you are saying yes to my knucklehead show. Like,
I mean, but this is what it's all about, man.
mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say no.
No, I super appreciate that. I got to think too, there's probably on the other side of that, you having gratitude and appreciation for your vocal cords. Like you just simply did something else that probably most people would just take for granted that you're probably able to have such gratitude for now.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, they exist. And really when you are in getting scoped, which is when they put the camera through your, nose and they get down there so they can take their pictures.
Yep.
It's kind of, the camera's alive the whole time. So you just look at them and you sort of like look at them and you think, oh, they look really resilient. But then you sort of see like, oh, you're looking at them on a screen this big.
Sure.
I mean, they're hardly even that big, the vocal cords.
That's
They're
amazing.
hardly even that long.
Right.
And all of that sound is generated by not only the chords themselves, but all of the resonant spaces.
Yeah.
So you just sort of realize like, it's so delicate. It's such a
Yep.
delicate balance of everything,
Yeah. And it could be taken away real quick. So that's very cool.
And it has been to many. Like you think about Julie Andrews and
Mhm.
Victor Victoria when she famously lost her voice and underwent a surgery that was then botched.
Mm, right.
And Julie Andrews had the greatest,
Sure.
what I would consider to be one of the greatest musical theater voices, if not the greatest musical
Oh,
theater
absolutely.
time,
Yep.
So
Yeah. And then the amount of people that it must have happened to that you've never heard of, like that just burgeoning musicians who then had that come along and take it away from them.
yeah, what was the movie? There was a really great movie about this punk duo where the drummer loses his hearing. The Sound of Metal.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that?
No, I did not.
It's excellent. It's excellent. He's showing this drummer moving from gig to gig, gradually losing his hearing.
Wow.
Everything is he's going out of, it's not just that he's losing his hearing, he's going out of his mind, he's losing his band at the same time. It's all falling away.
Sure.
And it's a brilliant piece, and it's very depressing, but so good, and it really shows you like what, how much people pour into their careers, and some of whom you may never have heard of.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, that is what I kind of almost hope this show can shine a little bit of a light on, is some of that stuff about there's these incredibly talented people out there who you may have never heard of for no other reason other than just.
And I mean, you work so hard to make sure that it does. I mean, I've never met anybody who is going around scouting for acts as hard as you were at Musikfest. Like, you were in the front row, as many shows, you introducing yourself to everybody. I was like, this guy is
insane.
No, he is doing it. It's so funny. I'll give you a great example. I'm the band leader for a group called the Harlem Gospel Travelers, meaning
Mm-hmm.
that the backing band. And
Right.
we have 3 wonderful singers, George, Ifedayo, and Dennis. And we have a backing band of organ, drums, bass, and guitar. And we tour in Europe a lot. And when we're over there, we play for some great crowds. And people are just so nice, and they love the music. And there's this one fan of ours who, I won't say her name just to keep her privacy, but she's like the mom of the band. She comes and sees us every time we play in France. She just came and flew to New York to see the residency at Club Groove with Gospel Travelers. She is so active in the band.
Yeah.
And it's not like there was any barrier to that. Like, if you want to be at someone's gig, if you want to support them, if you want to like have maybe not a personal relationship, but if you want to be involved in someone's story, it is possible.
Sure.
You just have to go and shake their hand.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you're a great example of that too, as somebody who just connects.
I just that I feel like is such a testament to Musikfest. It just breeds that kind of connectivity between the musician and the listener.
Yeah.
That there's obviously this performance, but then it just breeds this energy that like everybody wants to meet each other afterwards.
Yeah, and it really shows in all the variety of performances they have, because it's not just a music festival where, hey, you get a ticket, you go onto the grounds, you buy some food at a food truck, and you go and find your spot.
Yeah.
And listen to whoever's on stage. It's not that at all. It's you're walking along and you pass the Hotel Bethlehem, and there is a swing band,
Yeah.
a full 12 to 15. I don't know how many musicians
Oh,
they
totally.
have. Full swing band
Yep.
leading a full swing dance on
Yep.
the sidewalk, and people
Yeah.
are dancing, and there's a great like dance community, of course.
100%.
in
And people will go for that show. I know the exact one you're talking about. And then the audience goers who are trying to get to the next stage know that that's going on and aren't aggravated by it. They're just like,
Yeah.
oh, yep, the slicked up
Yeah.
nines are going on. We got to go around that.
One thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think is just that beauty of Musikfest is that there's 15, I don't know how much you walked around, but there's 15 different stages going on.
Yeah, of course.
And
I've been
all
to
with,
different times, and each time it's kind of like, what do we have the energy to do after our set? Are we
I love
trying to
it.
go back? But every time I've seen at least 2 other shows, and maybe not in their entirety, but also
Sure.
get some food and maybe.
Oh, yeah.
And then probably by midnight, everybody's like, okay, let's
Yeah.
release.
We need some rest, and we gotta drive to somewhere else by tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
But since we're on the topic again, like we're out of order, but who cares? That's what I love about this show. We'll just do what we want to do.
Yeah, I do
So
talk a lot. Sorry about that.
no. What I mean is like we jumped to Musikfest. Let's stay here. I have 2 recordings, so I wanted to play some more music of yours, and then this will not only play us another track, but it'll also show more of this live performance feel. So this is your track "Crying and Shaking."
Great.
And it's your live performance during Musikfest. So let's check this out. A testament to you too. The sound is incredible, and all I'm doing is picking this up on my iPhone.
Well, we had a great sound engineer. They have some great staff there, and I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he commented on a Facebook post of ours, and so I should remember his name. It might have been Kenny. I don't remember, but he was great, and he was great to work with too. I gave him a digital recorder to record our board feed, and he was
Sure.
like so happy to do it, and just everybody there is so easy to work with.
Agreed. I totally agree. I hear that all the time. But a phenomenal like performance there. That's a great track as well.
Thanks.
But I did also want to bring in this other video. I'm always torn when I'm there because obviously I want to first and foremost just enjoy the show because I'm there as a music lover first.
Yeah.
But then I'm always like remembering, okay, I have this show to do and I want to bring people on the show. So let me get some landscape and let me get some portrait and then I can put it on social media for people who maybe
Right.
want to be down for Musikfest, can't come down that day, can't come down at all, who knows what. So like the channel is out there for people to kind of tap into this kind of content who are missing it or feeling a little bit of that kind of like FOMO, if you will. And I got so lucky. I love when this happens. I got so lucky that you do this. Do you do this at every show where you do a solo out in the audience?
I try to. I mean, in some it's like not conducive, like
Sure.
And there are some shows where it's not even conducive to set up the wireless guitar just because you have like a load in and sound check and just a line check basically that's like only 10 minutes.
Right, yeah. And then and get playing.
And also, I'm trying to make as big of an impression as I possibly can at all times. I just want people to remember that they had a good time. I want people to remember that they heard something catchy.
Yep.
So if I can do it, I will. And when you're on a stage that size and you have people seated just listening, you just want to engage with them. So
Yeah.
If a show like that. I tried to do it. You know.
It's so cool. So for those of you listening on the podcast, um, the beginning of this is Kyle is out in the audience playing the guitar, and I think it's a sax solo to start. Um,
Yeah,
but
I
uh, but
brought
then
the sax player so that I could have some time to run around the
yeah,
ways to
and
get.
then there's this beautiful moment. We'll let it happen. But this one is shot in portrait, so we'll enjoy this one together. So here is, and actually I don't even know what the song is, so you're gonna have to clue us in on that one. But
One Trick Pony.
One Trick Pony. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So check this out. So I'll narrate a little bit, and then you can also maybe flavor some stuff in. Is like we've got this little bit of a barrier, like a fence barrier, that started during COVID, and then they've just kept it since then. Kyle's in the audience now, kind of just getting him to clap along. The sax solo is still going on, but he's playing the guitar in the audience, walking around.
Oh, it should be. Everybody.
So true. And then the other part about this is he's doing very typical 1950s kind of like guitar solo things, and now watch this part. He runs across, he's the other side of the audience, and then I guess you notice somebody's recording and you just stopped right in front of me. And then started to waggle on one foot. Now you high five an audience member. And then you're back up on stage. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, my knees didn't like me the next day. I was in dress shoes, and I shouldn't have been. I should have been in some supportive shoes.
Listen, it was absolute magic.
I should post this again. This was fun.
This was set. I mean, and again, it's just that absolute capture of something. We couldn't have staged that. We couldn't have like.
No, it would have looked silly if we'd staged it.
Yeah, it was
Instead,
just
it looked
purely just
ridiculous.
the magic of the moment, and I just happened to be recording the right thing at the right time.
Yeah, well, I mean, One Trick Pony is a great song for that too because it has the Chuck Berry, beat to it.
Totally.
And so you can do the duck walk, and you can do these sort of other dance moves.
Yeah.
It work well. Yeah, this is another song that I wrote easily 10 years ago. In fact, I definitely wrote it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was I originally released it in 2016 as a music video with my trio at the time, which included my friend Joe Kogan and Jack Breslin on bass. And then the following year, I released it again on the album with Harlem River Noise. And so this version that's come out as a single, I think it came out last August, One Trick Pony, is actually the third release of this song. So, but I hope it'll be the definitive one.
Man, it's like, so if you don't mind, where does the love of this rockabilly 1950s rock and roll come from? Like, you heard me mention off the top, do you know this band, Blair Crimmins and the Hookers?
I don't know, but great name.
It totally is. I actually wrote, so because of the show, he was guest number 1 on my show. He's played Musikfest a bunch of times. He didn't play this last year. I wrote to him purely because I was so inspired by the retro vibe of your show. I was like, if you don't know this guy, Kyle Lacy, you guys should be on tour together, because having him be 1920s hot jazz and your 1950s like rockabilly vibe, like it would be something that I think people would just hand over money for, like just simply to kind of have that flashback and that incredible kind of like just immersion into something that's real and genuine. Anyway, point being is like I had such fun talking to him about why he does what he does and how he finds the inspirations for it. So if you don't mind, like where does it come from? Like where did it hit your brain and say that's the kind of music I want to write, since it's so like not what most people would be, I think, inspired by
Well,
in
I
this
wish
day and moment
I
today.
wish I could show you. I wish I could, like, I mean, maybe I could, but we don't have it ready. I wish I could show you the songs I was writing when I was 14. I
Yeah,
wish I
yeah.
could show you those because there's a lot of them that were very rockabilly, and it started with, the '90s. I was born in 1990, and I grew up during the swing revival,
Sure,
and
sure.
I started listening to Brian Setzer's orchestra. My
Yep.
dad had all those records. My dad is a big jazz fan as well. He had, so I have boomer parents. They're 40 years older than me, and I was. They were. My dad was born in 1950. My mom was born in 1951, and so they just grew up with all the best music. They grew up with rock and roll. You
Yep.
know, Elvis, Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, the Everly Brothers. And all of that was very prominent. My mother grew up in Beatlemania, so
Mhm.
had the all of the Beatles records we had, and I had growing up. I starting at 6 years old. I was a drummer, so I took drum lessons from a guy in in Stone Mountain, Georgia, named Danny Garrett, who is an amazing professional musician and is still doing his thing and working to this day and doing a great job. And he had me playing all of that. Plus, he had me playing Allman Brothers on the drums. He had me doing Whipping Post and
Wow.
Come Together by the Beatles. And then he, you know, being the pro that he was doing a lot of show band stuff. So
Mhm, mhm.
he got me playing Earth, Wind, and Fire
Oh,
and
yeah.
Tower of Power, and sort of like fusing the sort of musical base that I had with these sort of other like funk and soul and all of the stuff, even top 40, you know. So it's all one big musical melting pot for me. But I was really floored by Brian Setzer. And Brian Setzer is, of course, the not only Brian Setzer's orchestra, but also the front man for the Stray
Stray
Cats.
Cats, yeah,
And,
absolutely.
yeah, and so I've always loved him. The most recent time I saw him, Amanda bought me tickets for my birthday to go see him in Dallas, and it was a wonderful
Sure.
show. We went last year. I saw the Brian Setzer Orchestra when I was again like 14 years old. My parents
Mhm.
drove 3 hours to the nearest spot where they were coming through, and
Wow.
so it's been a kind of a lifelong like just love affair with that music and that boogie woogie beat. And I think it starts because with rockabilly and with that old school rock and roll beat, it's all about how it feels in your body. And
Yep.
with the best beats that you just can't stop moving to them. And
Totally.
so, like that's how I play as a drummer and how I played when I was a kid. And then when I started playing guitar, I was taking every week I would take a guitar lesson with Jody Worrell, who's another Atlanta musician, which is where I grew up, and he taught me how to play blues. But he also every week we would go and work our way through a Brian Setzer solo, or we'd work our way through even jazz standards and you know, all these sort of like different styles and languages. But really, for me, the thread that's always tied it together is blues and rockabilly and a good song. It's a simple
Yeah.
song, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I
it's
mean,
all part of the same picture. But yeah, that's kind of where it comes from.
so it's actually just so obviously the music was there, and like you said, that was kind of when that revival was coming around, whether it was Brian Setzer or Big Bad Voodoo Daddy or those
Mhm.
kinds of bands. But obviously, it's unlocking something that was inside of you innately.
Yeah, and
It's
I
not like it was brought to you and you had to learn it. It was just simply there and just had to be unlocked.
also I'm a very I'm a high energy person. I have a ton of energy all the time, and I just sometimes I don't know what to do with it. And I think, you know, one thing that was really going on for me, and especially my teenage years, was I didn't really identify with any of the music that was, you know, on top 40 radio or
Sure.
anything like that. So but my energy I really caught, you know, performing a lot of this old music.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
I could express it, you know, that way.
But no, the music is incredible, and it's just such a fun conversation around like you know when somebody has such an inspiration to write music that's so distinct and so unique to a certain time period. That's just fascinating to me. Like it's just so cool. Like it's just
Yeah. Well,
you,
what's really interesting about it is, you know, like have not been exclusive about trying to create a 50s sound by any means. On Pleasure Craft is really that's a singer-songwriter album with a lot of 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s elements in it. Like I think maybe even more so inspired on that album by like, George Michael and Luther and like the Pointer Sisters and just like these sort of singer-songwriters who were doing original music that had, even in its time, it had a connection to 50s and 60s music, because like if you really get down to it, like Faith is a rockabilly song, like Faith by George Michael.
Yeah, it is.
Like do 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 do. It's got that beat. And I grew up, my two favorite albums when I was I don't know how old, but 4, 5, 6 years old. My two favorite albums were the Greatest Hits of the Pointer Sisters and High Lonesome by Randy Travis.
Wow.
I loved those two albums. And that's rockabilly.
Yep.
It's country music mixed with the rhythms and the feels and the soulfulness of the blues. And so like to take those two seemingly, that's 80s country and 80s, pop, disco, dance music.
Sure.
But it's all connected, like, and I've strived, I think, in my career to try to not be like a throwback per se, but to sort of like say that, I'm trying to create my own style that is reflective of my influences, but they're wider ranging, and the 50s certainly are, I think, the root of it,
100%. And that's why I tried to explain that off the top, was like,
yeah,
like to say, oh, this is 1950s rockabilly, or again, like 1920s hot jazz. Like, it's not to say that it's making you feel nostalgic or like, oh, I feel like I'm listening to an old radio. No. When you listen to your music, when you listen to go see you perform at a show, it's as if you're going back to the 50s and hearing it for the first time. It's like, it's current and relevant, and the sound and the way it makes you feel and listen and move, to your point, you want to move to it. It's like,
man.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Is like, this is kind of like, if you want to know what it sounded like to hear Jerry Lee Lewis for the first time, or some of these, like,
yeah,
this is kind of what it would be.
And that's a huge honor. I appreciate that, and I I think that there is a huge amount of that, what you're talking about, of like doing it in a way that feels new. Like I got the opportunity to open for this really incredible band called Les Green and the Swayzes. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No, I haven't.
Les Green has a great voice, and he could sing anything, but he is on a lot of his records, he is singing this old music, a lot of covers of 50 songs, as well as a lot of his own originals that reflect that style. He's another one who, when you listen to them, you figure, well, I could be in the 50s, but I also just am blown away by this immense talent of this individual. Or one of Amanda's and my favorite singer-songwriter's name is Tammy Savoy, who was another great performer, and probably could be considered to be within the rockabilly, really, I would say, roots music sphere. But she has a lot of music that is, again, reflective of a 50s influence, but it's just it's even more expansive than that. So yeah, I definitely take that very highly, to exist in that sort of way.
100%. So yeah, people definitely need to check it out. So you had mentioned you might be able to perform something live for us tonight?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love to. Anything in particular that you have request for?
No, I think whatever would.
I'm so used to performing in bars that I think, oh, what can I do for the audience? What are they going to want to hear? Let me see here.
Yeah, play us something that will kind of, like I said, give us the feels of the 1950s, but current.
Got it. Well, so this song is a song called "Playing in My Head," which is very much in a Carl Perkins feel.
Nice.
It's got sort of a. It also, I think, the way I wrote it was, I was envisioning Carl Perkins but like, what if they sort of combined forces with Jet? The
Oh
famous
wow.
Australian rock band who
Yeah.
was the Jet were one of the only bands that when I was growing up, I was like, oh, this is exciting, and that was during my time period. So
Sure.
this is my sort of tribute to Carl Perkins and Jet, and it's called Playing in My Head.
Excellent. Well, I'll come off screen and you can let her rip.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, something turned it my way. Something turned it right. Some little voice inside of my brain just won't lay down and die. Scientific language, knowledge, TV shows. Nothing really turned me on until you buzzed at my door, but that's alright. Seems my heart is binding to my head. That's alright. I'm wasting no more time in my bed. In the morning and the evening when I got you playing in my head. Well, it wasn't always easy to tell you how I feel. But when I heard your story, well, I knew my fate was sealed. You listened to your lover, obeyed him all the time. Till one day you sold all of his clothes and hung it on a line. But that's alright. It seems my heart is binding to my head. That's alright. I'm wasting no more time in my bed. In the morning and the evening when I got you playing in my head. Oh yeah. Whoa, that's alright. It seems my heart is binding to my head. Woo! That's alright. Don't you know I'm doing now what I should have done instead? In the morning and the evening when I got you playing in my head. In the morning and the evening when I got you playing in my head. In the morning and the evening when I got you playing in my head.
Thank you, Philip.
Fantastic. Wow, that sang. That was beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. That was so cool. We talked about this a little bit before we went live. Let's talk about that guitar before you put it down. The strings that you have on there. You were talking about they're just kind of a different style and
Yeah, I don't know how I ended up with these strings, but I thought I was buying D'Addario lights, and I ended up with these D'Addario like silver. I forget the name of them exactly, but they're like acoustic strings that are a little flat at the bottom, but then at the top they sort of ring out a little more, and they sound really a lot like, to me, like a cross between if you put electric strings on an acoustic guitar,
sure, right.
and like if you were playing a nylon string guitar. So it's really like a very strange combination, but I think it works, so
Oh, it sounded awesome.
yeah,
And
I'm gonna leave them on. I'm gonna leave them on for another, couple months probably, and then I'll switch to something else.
Very cool.
But
Very,
yeah.
very cool. Well, thank you for that.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me to play a song. I mean, it's. I hope my neighbors aren't too mad at me. The walls are a little bit thin. We have
Your next favorite band, pissing off neighbors across the country.
I mean, the actually our neighbor who lives like directly next door is guitar player himself. He's our realtor that got us this apartment. He lives next door, so he should understand. He should be
Absolutely. Well, also, if he invited you to live right next door to him, then
right. And he knew we were musicians, and he knew we were gonna,
kind of
make
ask him
some
for
noise from time to time.
it. Now and again, we might strum a little, but cool. We like to do something around now where we just bring up some trivia. Did you play dueling pianos in Hershey Park?
I did. Yes, that was my first job out of college. Actually, it was Hershey Park piano duel. It was really fun, and I spent the whole summer playing 5 shows every day.
Wow.
Yeah,
There's got to be what's a funny story or interesting story from that? There's got to be some. There's probably dozens, but
I
like
mean, just like the life of it, man. We had two different shows that we would do. One of them was in the theater with 3 pianos all facing each other, and we would just take turns, rocking out. The other show was actually a piano truck that we drove around the park. It was like a golf cart it was a golf cart with the back cut off, and instead of like seating, it had lifted up on the back. It had 2 pianos and a drum set.
oh my gosh,
One of us would drive,
we
and
need to
I'm
bring
serious.
that back. That
Yeah,
sounds
one would
fantastic.
drive, and one would play the piano, and another would walk ahead of the truck with a guitar. And this was how we 5. And I'm telling you, we did 5 shows a day, and it was 100-degree heat most of
Of
the.
course, right? Yes.
We'd go back and we just like just pass away in the green.
Right. That's fantastic.
I loved it so much because to me, I was really ready. I spent I did a degree at Oklahoma City University. I did musical theater there, and I'm so glad I did. I learned so much. And then when it was time to get out of college, I was ready. I was ready to go and do,
Yes. Let's make music.
Yeah.
Did you ever get like? Is there a story about some sort of like wicked tip that somebody was willing to give if you could play a certain song?
Sometimes people ask for free bird a lot, and sometimes I'll say $100, and sometimes they'll throw, $100 in the jar.
Wow.
And then you have to do.
Right. Then you have to do.
No, I mean, we've had it all. We've had people who were so incredibly generous, and like one gentleman wanted to. This is just a couple years ago. He was, I don't know who he was, but he had a lot of money, and he was so impressed by the band that he just wanted to give us, $100 a piece or something like that.
Wow.
And it might have been even more, and he just added it to his check, and he just was like, give the band this money. And then we've had those people, and this actually just happened on Friday. I was playing at a great spot. Anybody that's in Lower Manhattan, you should check out Daisy Duke's Honky Tonk.
Nice.
For live music every night of the week. And we played there this past Friday. It was a great show. And someone Venmoed us $10. And I don't spend gigs on my phone. I don't look at my phone while I'm playing.
Sure.
Unless it's like, I feel it's ringing. Somebody's calling me and it's an emergency. But I think that some people are used to this aspect where you can like Venmo request.
Sure.
Well, they put their request in the comments of the Venmo, and he asked for Mr. Brightside, and I didn't see it, but he Venmoed us $10. And then at the end of the gig, after I didn't play Mr. Brightside, I got a Venmo request for $10
to pay him back.
Pay him back for the fact that I didn't play his request, and the request it said Mr. Sad Side, and I was like. First of all, that's hilarious.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Second of all, that's not how this works.
That's
not how this works. If you tip the band,
you just tip the band.
You just tip the band. If you happen to make a request, that's also
wonderful.
We would love to do your request. Sometimes it doesn't happen.
Please write a song called Mr. Sad Side.
Boy, that would be a seller.
And release.
Listen, you're doing something right when you get sued.
Right, exactly. You're not trying hard enough unless you're getting sued. But anyway, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
We've had it all.
I'm sure you have. Yeah, and then another piece of trivia: a fan of Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I'd say
me too, but was
greatest. I think one of the greatest shows. Yeah. I mean, of course, notwithstanding the first Star Trek series,
Sure.
which is also great. I mean, I think I just grew up in the 90s and, TNG was on television.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just a Trekkie. I don't know why, but Star Trek: The Next Generation, I think, in comparison to all the rest of the Star Treks, that one feels more like, and I think this is intentional, it's a morality play. It's
Yeah.
an allegory. It's not really, it is about what's going on in the episodes, but really a lot of those stories are allegorical. And that's the same way for early Star Trek too. Like, in the fact
Agreed.
that Gene Roddenberry was putting all of these various nationalities, ethnicities, men and women together on the screen
Absolutely.
was revolutionary. The fact that he was, writing stories that were really also allegories for things that were going on in the real world, whether it was the Cold War or whether it was
Totally.
civil rights or whether it was, whether Jim Kirk was having, relations with this.
With an alien of some variety. Yeah.
That really is like the best microcosm of life is Star Trek.
Absolutely.
You have all of this philosophical stuff that's so beautiful, and then you just have alien romance.
Yeah.
Like,
But to your point, I think my favorite one, which even as a younger person, it struck me as being brilliant for the commentary it was making on the world, was they met this alien race that had their skin color was split down the center, and they were black on one side, literal black, like, and then white on the other side.
Yeah, that's
And when they tried to get into like what was going on, because there were slaves that were going on at that planet, they were like, well, this isn't right. We have to do something about this. And they were like, well, didn't you notice his servant was black on the left side and white on the right side, and I'm black on the right side and white on the left. And it was just such a it pointed out how ridiculous it was that it was skin color related in such a way that really almost tried to point out the futility of that argument.
Yeah, it's like Star Trek is the type of, and this is I really think like Star Trek before 2000. Like, that's really what I'm talking about when I talk about Star Trek. I'm not really talking about like Discovery or any of the new stuff, which I haven't really watched, and so I can't really speak to it. But the Star Trek that the original Star Treks get you to look at the civilization in a removed viewpoint, and so you see different truths about it. Like, for example, the Borg
Yes.
are a great example of that, because like when you're looking at the Borg, you think how awful, how insanely robotic and utterly unfeeling and totally devoid of any compassion this race is. And then you suddenly you see the Borg, and then you see in the Borg some of the facets of Western capitalism, and you see the Borg, all of these other things, and you see, wow. So it really educates and informs, I think.
That's what you would hope. Absolutely. But yeah, no, I find fascinating. Like, it was yet another storytelling that allowed you to kind of have this escape from, where this storyteller and this creator wanted to take you, but then also wrap it right back around to where you were from. I agree. It's
and
really, really good stuff.
Then of course I could never live without that moment in Star Trek 3 when William Shatner is kicking Christopher Lloyd, who played Krug in Star Trek 3. He's kicking him in the face, and he's going to kick him to his death off of this cliff. And he says, "I have had enough of you." And it's just like, I don't think people understand really like how to make movies anymore, because it's never been about the believability. It's not supposed to look realistic. It's supposed to look ridiculous. You know, like that's what makes some, like, all Star Trek is like a Western movie in space. It's a cheesy,
that's exactly right,
Western movie from the 40s.
Spaghetti Western in space. Absolutely.
And all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, they're space explorers. No, they're not. They're just cowboys. You know?
It's so true. It's so true. Oh, that's awesome. We're gonna have to do a whole other episode on Star Trek.
Oh my gosh, it's already been what, an hour or something? This is how it happens, man.
That's exactly how it happens.
We're talking about Star Trek, and then the hour goes by.
That's it. But yeah, no. Listen, thank you so much for coming on. Let's promote your website at a minimum so that people can keep track of things.
Sure.
It's a great layout too because it's got these great images of you
Oh, thanks. Yeah, you got it right there.
rocking out. Yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't actually updated yet since the release of the More Than That music video. So I'm gonna go do that now that I'm looking. But everything is on there, and
Mm-hmm.
I like to say that little contact tab at the top is great. You can join our email list. You'll know
Here we
about
are.
upcoming shows.
Yep.
And
There we are.
also, if you want to look for upcoming shows, you can check out, I think it's the shows tab.
Yep.
The upcoming shows that we have are mostly in New York area for now, and we're going to update with more as they come in. I know we're going to be in Jackson, Tennessee again in the spring, and we're going to
You
be
going to Jackson?
you're going back to Jackson. Yeah, man. Hopefully we'll play a lot more venues in the South. And then we're also going to be in Boston in January 16th and 17th at the Beehive. We're going to continue to, seek out more touring opportunities. Let me see. There's a place at the top of the website where you can go to Instagram, or you can go to, Facebook, or wherever is best for you. But yeah, join the email list because I really want to be able to, get to know people. And, unlike, I think, if you're, a million selling band with a label, I respond if you message me.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
if you get my email newsletter and you are like, this is really cool, or you have a question, I'll get back to you. I always do.
I wanted to jump over to the merch tab because we always like promoting the merch direct from the artist.
Yeah.
There's a hot sauce in here.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You got to try it. If you're like a hot sauce connoisseur, what this is my friend Val Daniel owns a company called Pablo Picante, and they make all these different kinds of hot sauces, and they're all delicious. This one is a peach gummy ring and Carolina Reaper hot sauce. So it has some of that sweetness, that tanginess, and it also has like a real heat to it. Like, go easy the first time you put it on something.
Fantastic.
Personally, for me, I like it in a breakfast burrito. And I like it like with some red meat. Like it tends to brighten up and have that acidity that goes well with
Nice.
red meat.
Wonderful. And obviously, vinyl, CDs, T-shirts, tote bags, all sorts of good stuff.
Yeah, all the stuff.
All the goodies. And then whenever the live performances are nearby, people got to come check out Kyle Lacy
Yeah,
Band.
I'm trying to think what are the upcoming performances in New York. We have a couple that aren't listed on the website. We have this place called Prohibition, Friday, November the 28th. We have Club Groove, Saturday, November 29th. And then in December, we're going to be mostly getting ready for the holidays, but we have some shows coming up at this also in Astoria, Queens, called the Queens Room. We'll be there on this coming Thursday, the 13th of November, as well as Thursday, December 4th. And then, like I mentioned, back in Boston on January 16th and 17th at the Beehive. So those will be our like most exciting upcoming performances, I think.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So after our credits, we're gonna play. We always play one last song, kind of like an encore song. We're gonna play.
Fun.
We're gonna play "When You Get Home." I figured to give you a chance here to kind of set that one up.
Yeah. So this is kind of like rockabilly disco, if there is such a thing.
Yes.
I wrote this song. This was a bedroom pop, right? Which means that I was, in COVID. When we were all just writing, I didn't have my band to play with me. So I had a drum machine set up in my bedroom along with my guitar. And I was also recording via my Tascam Porta Studio 4-track tape recorder. And so like sort of like bouncing ideas around in the tape recorder, this is what I came up with. And yeah, it's called When You Get Home.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So Kyle, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and can't wait to see you play live again. Hope you play Musikfest again next year. It was such a great experience to have you there.
We're going to try to make it happen.
Yeah. And so our closing credits music, what goes underneath me, is Blair Crimmins and the Hookers. So you'll get your first taste of that.
Amazing.
And I hope you guys, like I said, to have you, I'm going to wish cast this one out there. Musikfest should bring back Blair Crimmins and Kyle Lacy and have you guys play back to back. That would be
Let's do it.
sheer magic. and then world tour after that.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's make it happen. We're ready to play.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, Kyle, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Philip. This has been so fun, and I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Appreciate you. So there you have Kyle Lacy. Like we talked about, Atlanta born, New York City based, rockabilly blues. I mean, just what could be better than that? And hopefully we were able to give you kind of like a feel and a vibe and an understanding of what it's like to, be at a show, to kind of like feel what that energy is all about, and that you'll want to go out and check that out. And in the meantime, check out the streaming, purchase some vinyl or some CDs straight from Kyle. It's a great way to kind of support the band, and you are going to love it.
All right, Phil, let's say goodbye to everybody.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Your Next Favorite Band. We'd like to sincerely thank Kyle Lacy for joining us today to tell us all about the Kyle Lacy Band, all about the inspirations behind many of the different songs, and even just how he gets into this rockabilly blues vibe and writes the music, and sharing all the different stories behind different things, and even getting into some Star Trek: The Next Generation banter. That was lovely as well. And there'll be links in the show notes to the website, Spotify, YouTube, Bandcamp, all that good stuff. We'll try and connect to all of that so you can find it very easily. And including that the interview and episode he did with Guitaro, we'll get that out there so that you can kind of check that one out and get that whole backstory of that experience and journey that he was on. So it's just something that I think will just help you really appreciate all that he has to offer, and you'll want to catch him when he performs live nearby. As always, our hope here on this show is to bring you your next favorite band. If you tuned in tonight because you already knew Kyle Lacy, thank you very much. We hope that you like what you heard and what you saw, that you would want to give us a like and a subscribe so that we can bring you your next favorite band in the coming week. Or your next favorite band might already be out there. NextFaveBand.com and at NextFaveBand YouTube channel both has all of our prior interviews, so you'd be able to check out anything you'd like. If you need some help navigating that, send us a note. We will curate a list for you that matches what you like to listen to. Hope to catch you at a live show soon. And stick around for one more track from Kyle Lacy. Here is When You Get Home.
Once again, all Manhattan Barbecue trains are commuting to Kmart Boulevard over the M line. For services, 96th Street, please transfer at the next stop to a Manhattan F train to Lexington and 63rd Street, where you'll
What do you do when you get home from work? Do you want me by your side? 'Cause I need you there to keep me satisfied. What do you do? What do you do when you get home? Do you sit down by the phone and wait for me to call? Because I know you still got love for me, tangled up in other sheets. Now it's a shame, and that's not all. What do you do when you get back from his place? Does the thought cross your mind, and maybe even wish you were still mine? What do you do? What do you do? Because I told you once, told you twice, told you another 100 times I love you. Ooh. And if you still got love for me, don't tangle up in other sheets. I love you. What do you do when you can't make it work now? Do you want me to come on home? 'Cause I need you, we're too far away, our own. way.